If you have owned a home in Henderson County for 7, 8, 10 years or more, there's a question that's probably been sitting in the back of your mind. Prices were crazy in 2022. Then they cooled off. Now you're seeing more homes on the market, homes sitting longer, and you're wondering, did I miss the window? Did the market peak and I wasn't paying attention? Today, we're going to answer that question directly, no spin, just what the data actually says and what it means for homeowners in this area right now.
We're Ryan and Suzanne with the Live Play WNC real estate team. We work with homeowners across Henderson County every day, and we built our peak home selling system around one simple belief. Selling your home should be straightforward, low stress, and designed to protect the equity that you spent years building.
What we've learned from working with sellers here is that most people don't struggle with the decision to sell because the market isn't good enough. They struggle because they have questions nobody's answered yet. So that's what we do on this channel. We answer the real questions, the ones you're asking before you ever call an agent.
Okay, so let's be honest about what people mean when they ask if the market has peaked. They're really asking two different questions. One, are prices lower than they were at the highest point? And two, is it too late to get a good result if I sell now?
Those are two very different questions with two very different answers. So let's take them one at a time. On the first question, yes, prices are off their absolute peak from 2022 and early 2023. That was a historic, once-in-a-generation run driven by pandemic, migration, record low mortgage rates, and almost zero inventory. What happened after that peak was not a crash, it was a correction back to normal.
And here's the number that puts it in perspective. The median sales price in Henderson County in March 2026 was $4,700, up 3.9% from March of last year. The average sales price came in at $779, which is up 0.6% year over year. Prices are not falling, they are still growing, just at a slower, more sustainable price than during those peak years.
And if you look at the rolling 12-month historical median price chart going back to 2016, don't worry, we did it. Henderson County has been on a remarkable trajectory. Prices have more than doubled since, even with the modest cooling from the 2022-23 peak, you're in a fundamentally different equity position than you were when you bought.
Let us walk you through a scenario we see all the time. Picture a couple. Let's call them Mark and Linda, who bought a home in the Horseshoe area back in 2013 for around $240,000. Nice 3-bedroom, good lot, nothing fancy. They've kept it up well. And in 2022, their neighbor's similar home sold for $480,000, and they thought, we should sell. But they weren't quite ready. Life was busy, so they waited.
So fast forward now to 2026. They're watching days on market tick up. They see the market is softer than it was, and they're asking themselves, did we blow it?
And here's the answer. Their home is worth somewhere in the $430,000 to $460,000 range today based on current comps. They didn't sell at the absolute peak, that's true, but they are still looking at roughly $190,000 to $200,000 in equity gains from their purchase price. That is not a missed window. That is a life-changing financial position.
The mistake Mark and Linda would make now is letting the fear of having missed the peak push them into waiting even longer, hoping prices climb back to 2022 highs, because the data does not support that happening quickly. And every month they wait is another month of carrying costs, maintenance, and opportunity costs on that equity. So let's look at what the market is actually telling us right now, because the story is more nuanced than it's slowing down. New listings in Henderson County did jump 27.5% in March compared to last year. That's 301 new listings versus 236. More sellers are coming to market. But here's what's interesting. Pending sales jumped 28% in that same window. So buyers are keeping pace with that new inventory.
Months of supply is actually sitting at 3.8 months, down slightly from 4 months a year ago. That means inventory is not piling up. The market is absorbing what's coming in. A balanced market is considered 4 to 6 months of supply. We are below that threshold.
Now, the part that requires honesty is the days on market have increased significantly. In March 2026, it was 90 days, and that's up from 57 days just 1 year ago. And sellers are receiving anywhere from 93 to about of the original list price.
And that 3% gap matters. On a $450,000 home, that's roughly $15,000 left on the table. And it's almost entirely driven by overpricing. Homes that come in priced right are still going under contract quickly. Right here in the 28739 zip code, half of the homes that sold in April so far went under contract in 30 days or less.
So the market hasn't peaked in the sense that it's falling apart. It's shifted in the sense that it's now punishing mistakes. Overpricing, poor presentation, bad timing, those things cost sellers real money in this market in a way that it just didn't in 2021 at the peak.
So here's what we tell every homeowner who comes to us with this question. Whether the market has peaked is actually the wrong thing to focus on. The right question is, What are the 3 things that determine whether you get a great result right now?
So number one is pricing. In this market, your list price is your most important marketing decision. If you price too high, you're just going to sit, and then you get into price reduction. You train buyers to think something is wrong with your home. The data shows sellers are netting 93% of original list price on average, but the sellers who price correctly from day one are getting closer to 100%. That gap is entirely within your control.
Number 2 is preparation. This is where our peak system really earns its keep. The enhance phase, which is pre-inspection, staging, professional photography, is not optional in a market where buyers have choices. A buyer looking at 10 homes in your price range is going to make an emotional decision about which one feels right. You want the decision to go your way before they ever walk in the door.
Number 3 is buyer targeting. The buyers coming into Henderson County right now are not random. They're coming from high tax northern states and a predictable stream of Floridians who find out it's too hot or are done with constant threats during hurricane season. They're retirement age buyers, remote workers, people specifically choosing this area for the lifestyle and the value relative to Asheville. Reaching those buyers requires a marketing strategy built around where they are and how they search, not just putting a sign in the yard and hoping.
Those 3 things are what we focus on in every single listing we take. And when all 3 are done well, the question of whether the market has peaked becomes almost irrelevant because well-prepared, well-priced homes are still selling well in Henderson County right now.
So let's bring it back to the original question. Has the Hendersonville market peaked? The honest answer is that prices are off their 2022 highs. Yes, that's true. But they are still growing year over year. Inventory is being absorbed by an active buyer pool who's out there looking for homes, and the equity position for homeowners like you who bought in the area anytime before 2020 remains really strong.
If you're a homeowner in Henderson County who's been sitting on this question, the window has not closed, but the market has changed enough that how you sell matters more than it did 3 years ago. That's not a reason to panic. It's just a reason to be strategic.
If you want to know specifically where a home stands right now, what it's worth, what it would take to sell it well in this market, and what you'd walk away with, reach out to us. The link below takes you to our free valuation request. We'll come back to you with real numbers based on real current comps, not an algorithm.
And if you found this helpful, subscribe. We put out a fresh market update every month and cover the questions Henderson County homeowners are actually asking.
So when you're ready, reach out and we'll get you on your path to sold.